Hello, conscious breathers, infinite beings alike, breath family. So we're going to talk about a few stuff. We're going to talk about breath tech, AI, and I don't know why this person, I don't know why you want to go live. I didn't even get to the topic yet. Mrs. 365, hey man, I appreciate your work so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. Where can I get the frequency breathers? We have a few left. You can get them on my website. I'll type it in www.alchemybreath.work. Some people here already got it. Okay. Boom. So for new people coming into my feed, I just want to say welcome. Thank you for having me part of your breath journey, and truly honored. So when it comes to my lives, if you're going to hop on any of my lives, always stick to the main topic. All right, so let's tap in. If you didn't see the video, I'll play the video now. I don't know if you can hear the voice. Share a photo video with your viewers. Okay, let's see if we can do that. I've been saying this for a while, and here we are. I've been saying that it's going to get to the point where AI will want to breathe like us. The robots will want to literally breathe like us, because that's what makes us truly human. Are we going to wait for technology to tell us how important the breath is? And this goes to show you, breath resides in all dimensions of reality, even in the AI universe. I've been saying this for a while, and here we are. I've been saying that it's going to get to the point where AI will want to breathe like us. All right, cool. Now that you saw that video where the AI is literally catching and feeling its breath for the very first time into reality, now you're seeing what, and I already know what's it called, Calico Labs. There's a Google lab that is actually viewing some of my videos. I got confirmation from someone who actually works with Google that told me that. So, are we gonna wait till AI? It's gonna get to the point where there's going to be certain cameras, and the cameras, I was talking with somebody about this in NFT space, where the cameras will be able to see your facial construction and how your breath, how it enters the body and how it exits the body, going back and forth in terms of your breathing patterns. It's going to get to the point where the robots can actually read your breathing patterns. And that is going to dictate, hey, is this person more anxious? Is this person more healthy? Is this person more focused? Is this person trustworthy? All these different factors will come into play in terms of the category of things. And how in our current reality, how is that reflecting what's eventually going to happen? This is so trippy. My withdrawals is like missing up in the red light. Yeah, how is that relating with today's view and outlet of our reality? Well, let's take, for instance, with this whole thing that's been going on for the last 2 years. So I would say the 1% of people that it depends in terms of categories, where some people knew this was going to happen and it actually happened, right? And then the other category is people just on a holistic route of a lifestyle that also fits in the 1%, right? Where most of them understand the aspect of terrain theory. where they're not scared of germs and stuff like that, right? Because they understand it's all about the journey within and how that plays. So fast forward, if we have social constructs of what they're doing in China in terms of social cards and social rankings, we're going to get to the point where we have health rankings. Okay? Whether or not, hey, is this person really healthy? Is this person healthy? Is this person healthy? Hey, we can read your breathing pattern. We can read your anxiety. We can read certain frequencies that you're emitting off your body at a certain point. And breath is the starting point. Just like I showed you with the robot, I've been saying this over and over. The breath resides in all dimensions of reality. And AI will get to the point where AI, when they're trying to quote unquote be more human, right? They will get into different states of breathing patterns, and that's going to influence you. Just like the aspect of mirror breathing. I shared mirror breathing where even the CIA themselves use it, where if they're trying to change the aspect of a room, the energy in a room. Let's say someone is very frantic and they keep on talking, and you could tell they're in a desperate state, or they're in a less harmonious state with their own bodies, right? And they're just talking. What you can do to calm them down, and this is what the CIA does, CIA operatives who train in different breathing mechanics and stuff like that, and this is mirror breathing, where they're talking, that'll be your exhale, and then whenever they inhale, you inhale with them, and then they're talking, they inhale, you inhale, and then they're talking, and then you extend your exhale even longer, then they take that inhale, and then they're still talking, and you're still exhaling, and then you're going to see how they start shifting and being more relaxing. And that is the power of breath. And just like the frequency breathers, this is only the tipping point. I have so many ideas and things we can actually utilize breath for, even in the sense of security, in the sense of even real estate, if you want to put it all the way there. And something to note, and how can one really perceive that the breath resides in all dimensions of reality? And you can try to do this math yourself, where you can take the Eiffel Tower that they spent $1.4 million back then. Of course, with inflation, it's probably a total different number, of course. But $1.4 million to create the Eiffel Tower. And then you take the average worker that worked on the Eiffel Tower for X amount of years for it to actually be finished, right? And you multiply that by the average breath per day, you get 1.4 billion breaths. You think that's a coincidence? And how it connects with 1.4 billion and the 1.4 million in terms of dollars too. You think that's a coincidence? And this is what I mean by the breath resides in all dimensions of reality. A lot of people that dive into breath and think they know all about pranayama and this like that, stuff like that, don't realize breath is not one-dimensional. It resides in so many different dimensions of reality, just like your emotions. You can't see your emotions, right? Your emotions reside in a different dimension within itself. You can't see your emotions, but you can feel your emotions. You can feel the different aspects of your emotions and how that ripples into different actions and also manifestations. I tried that with my dog. It was much easier and faster to calm him down. Oh, Ramel, much love, brother. I think you're in breath family too. Yeah, mirror breathing. It even works on pets. And, I was at this NFT event here, a bunch of crypto events and stuff like that I got invited to. And tons of beautiful artists in terms of music. What's happened to the music, right? It blew their mind when I talked about using the frequency breathers you can literally plug in, where's the cord? I don't have the cord. I do have the cord somewhere. Oh. So with the frequency breathers, you can actually plug in your iPod, music, and literally play up to, the max I played was actually about 40 different frequencies, including sweeping frequencies, including the breath healing sounds. And we're going to tap into scalar and how our scalar device here is very, very different, and what gives it a huge shift. We're going to talk about that real quick as well. But when I told them my experience is actually playing different music, you can actually taste the music. Yeah, that blew their mind, because when I tried, when I explained how the device works with breath, I gave them the aspect of, hey, think about it this as well. When you're breathing more with your nose, your mouth is closed, and you're going to, all the frequencies is going to seep into your saliva, and it's going to shift the taste of your saliva, and you can actually taste what Celine Dion is tasting like, or what Ray Charles is tasting like, or what violin music tastes like, or what Om tastes like, the chanting of Om, or subliminal breathwork music. You can actually taste that. Now that blew everyone's mind in terms of, hey, this is another musical experience, right? In terms of AR, VR, however you want to describe it. It's adding another layer, and that's what the breath does into our current reality and what we experience from a day-to-day basis. Now let's talk about the scalar technology. Now, you can do all your research on scalar, and I want to combine what they're doing with the robot, what you saw with the robot, how the robot's actually learning how to, took that breath in, and it's like, oh, I'm alive. I'm feeling it. So something to note, what we're actually doing with the scalars, yeah, we're playing 60 plus different frequencies on the scalar and sending it out to people. And shoot, today was actually the first day where we actually have all the scalars, not only the 60 plus healing frequencies, including the sweeping frequencies, and utilizing biogeometrics, that whoever sent their pictures in for the scalar is actually going to feel something different starting from today for sure, because we now added the whole library of subliminal breathwork music into the scalars itself. So on top of all those different frequencies, it's actually feeding breath, actually the breath of life, into the actual scalar. You can't get more human than that. You can't get more human than that. And that's what makes our scalar very unique and very, very powerful. And something to note, most of all the subliminal breathwork music is my own breath, right? So everyone who actually got the scalars, I actually programmed the whole library of subliminal breathwork music into their scalars too. So the very first person who got the scalar turned it on, and I felt it. I was like, okay, we got to plug in all the tablets with the subliminal breathwork music, because I felt it. So it's like recurring it, and also when I make these subliminals, something to note, it's very intentional. I don't even like the word shaman, because some people call me shaman. I'm just an intentional being. That's what I am, okay? I'm an intentional being. And when I create these music, there's, within every breath, there's intention, okay? And you can't get more human than that. And that's what's feeding into the scalars. But beyond the mechanical side, there's a human aspect of the breath that's being fed into the scalars that makes it so powerful and healing. Where I'll post a testimonial with someone with a scalar. She's so sensitive because she's going through a real deep healing journey herself with her neck in a car accident. And she said, I can't have it on for 5 minutes. I have to work my way up. I was like, yeah, just have one app in, or you can just play the subliminals and see where your tolerance resides, and just slowly, build that up. Some people, yeah, they can really, really feel it. So I feel it. Like today was the very first day where we actually had every single tablet playing the subliminal breathwork music inside of the scalars. And let me remind you again, the breath resides in all dimensions of reality. You can go to a parallel reality, people are still breathing, the air is still there. Just like if anyone has experienced astral traveling, you notice you can feel somewhat of the air when you're traveling or flying through the air in the sky in your astral body, right? Even in your dreams, you're breathing. You feel air. You feel the element of air. You feel the element of the aspect of water in that sense. Because you're breathing in this dimension, but also while you're dreaming, that is the cord. Okay? And that is, the breath is a cord that is stepping in and out through all dimensions of reality. When I experience watching and seeing monks communicate, when I did my own experiment, when I wrote on the paper to my friend and he had it in his hand, and then the other monk was on the other side with the same exact paper, and I wrote Goku on the paper. And they don't even watch anime, by the way. They don't, and these are actually Chinese. They're Chinese monks. They don't watch TV. They don't watch any anime, any of that. So I wrote Goku on the paper, and they both synchronized with their breath, and then they started chanting a little bit, and then they went straight into humming. And the other monk literally started writing what I was writing, because you can communicate via breath. There are certain tablets that you see people with no mouth whatsoever, but they're still breathing. They still have the nose. You still see the nose, right? So how are they communicating? If there was somewhat of a lineage where we didn't have a mouth, how are we communicating? Telepathy, right? If you want to go there. But what is the driving force going back and forth from another being going back and forth? The breath. The breath is the vehicle. What's that in my nose? So these are the frequency breathers. If you don't know, you can literally plug in a 9-volt battery and you're literally breathing in a crystal and a tensoring. So it's structured air, and you can't convince me. That's going to be my slogan. You can't convince me breathing glyphosate, which is in every air you breathe technically, is better than breathing frequencies, because it is not. This is the closest thing I've ever felt with a oxygen device or anything. I've been inside an oxygen chamber. I didn't feel that much of a difference. And even the guy told me, like, yeah, you do breath work almost every day, right? Almost every moment, right? It's like, yeah, of course you're not going to feel a difference. So, and I tried the O2 chambers before too. I didn't really feel that much of a difference. But with this is like the only thing I've actually felt a difference with in that sense. Yes, very often. Feel it all the time. Where can we get one? Website is right there. Oh, this thing is still burning. Yeah, they're available on the website. So you go to the main website and then you go to breath healing products, and they're under biohacking. Wonder how dreams will be if I sleep with them on. Oof, trust me, they're a trip. Oh, thank you, Mac. Jackson. Sorry, Jackson. Thank you, Jackson. Strong growth. Thank you, brother. What is a breathing pattern you should adapt throughout the day? So that also depends on you. See, everyone is different. Everyone has different expressions. Everyone has different multidimensional aspects of themselves. This is why I made alchemy breathwork the way I did, where there's really 100+ breathing exercises and things that you can actually do throughout the day, where you don't have to actually sit down. You can literally implement it in your daily life. That is what alchemy breathwork is about. So something to note when I do. How do you play all the subliminal breathwork music onto the scaler? So, Mercy's one of the few people that his scaler is literally on his way. there's a music app. So you literally open all the apps, and the music app is one of them. And then all you have to do is hit shuffle and play all on repeat all the music. And then you also have the sweeping frequencies in there for the last part. And then you're literally playing about, technically, if we're also including the subliminal breathwork music, something to note, every single piece that I've made with the subliminal breathwork music has square waves. If you're not familiar with square waves, something to note, most music that you're listening to is most likely in sine waves. Square waves is easier to adapt on the body. And something also to note, a square, if you were to cut a square diagonally, what do you get? You get a pyramid. And pyramids themselves produce raw scalar. Okay? They produce raw scalar energy. So sometimes when I don't wear this at night, I literally put it on my scales. I actually put one. We use two scalars for remote therapies. So people who send in their pictures for remote therapies, I put one of each pyramid on the other, and that helps amplify it. I bought Wave Block for my AirPods. My ears don't hurt anymore. Thanks, bro. Used your code. Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, Wave Block. So yeah, there are some really cool things you can check out on my website that will help you a lot. Why breathing through your mouth and not nose? Not logical. Not sure what you mean, but you mainly want to be breathing with your nose, if anything. I have a question here. Oh, I already answered that question. So, something to note. Oh, 7 goes, why are there African ancestors' homes were always made triangular or dome shape? Yeah, even if you look at American tribes, yeah, the teepee, they know, they really know. And something that stood out to me too was Adinkra symbols. Really tap into Adinkra symbols. And if you didn't ever hear me talk about Adinkra symbols is basically the closest thing when scientists made their breakthrough with quantum code, and the closest thing on the planet Earth that was the closest thing to quantum binary code was Adinkra symbols. And we're taught in school that we were literally cavemen and cave people, and we were stupid back then. I have a theory, and especially when you look at Mesa Verde and the tribe who mysteriously disappeared, man, I feel like they literally opened their own portals, and they just went through the portal and never came back, because there were no bones of that specific tribe. Nothing left back whatsoever. And that when I went into that ancient tree, you're technically not supposed to go in there. But when I went into the ancient tree, on the tree, and maybe this is a reason why they didn't even chop it down, because on the tree, if you look within the carvings, you can see somebody made a carving of this deity that had eyes and didn't look human at all. And it matched in their dwellings. When you actually go to their dwellings, when you hike all the way over to the other side, it matched all their drawings on the walls, that they were doing fire and having rituals. But more importantly, that really stood out to me was the spirals within their drawings. What are those? They don't just draw spirals just to draw spirals. What were they? They most likely were portals that they probably went through. It made sense. What tribe again? It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, the Asani tribe. And coincidentally, what's also very peculiar is apparently where Bashar is channeling through Daryl Anchor, apparently his home family, quote unquote, is called Asani. And within one of their crystals, there is a blue sapphire crystal, and it has the spiral with the pyramid on there. So I'm like, maybe there's a correlation there. Would you mind talking about how the scalar tech is set up to operate unless it's protected process, of course? Yeah, this is why I'm keeping it in Breath Family. I'm not going to sell it just to sell it. I want to keep the integrity of it. So if you're really interested in getting the scalar tech yourself, you have to join Breath Family and then go to the scalar workshop and watch the whole entire workshop. And then there'll actually be instructions of how to get your own scalar. And I did it that way. That way, you know, people, if they're really interested, it keeps the integrity, but it also keeps the intention that I'm holding with the scalar, because I don't want to just sell it just to sell it. What about EMF radiation from the device? So the scalar is not, you don't have to have Wi-Fi for the scalars. I actually turned off the Wi-Fi. I only use the Wi-Fi just to download certain programs, but then when I plug it back in, it's actually off. And maybe I'll post a video. Maybe I can actually find the video where Jen, because we actually put our products on here. All of Nature Herself 369 products are scalar charged. Let's see if I can find the video. Because she took a video with her phone, and you can start to see the phone kind of like glitching next to the scalar. That's another thing. If you have the scalar, I posted that in the group chat already, but if you end up getting the scalar, keep your phone away from the scalar. It really produces a beautiful harmony within your environment. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's here somewhere. Yeah, this is a camera roll. Maybe I deleted it. Oh, no, that's not it. No, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, I think it's on Jen's phone. So, yeah, I think it's on Jen's phone. It's not here. Yeah, it's on Jen's phones. Yeah, the music app is able to play all the songs. What do you mean, Ugo? Oh, no, there's no EMF in here. Something to note, this also has tensorings, and tensoring is anti-EMF, if anything. Something to note, when you put tensor rings onto Wi-Fi routers, it doesn't block the Wi-Fi. What it does is it harmonizes the Wi-Fi. Where if you put some organite devices, if you put some organite devices onto some Wi-Fi routers, it'll actually be more detrimental than good, because some of them will actually block it off and emit it a certain way and actually amplify where it's emitting. And that's why it's important, if you're somewhat shifting your Wi-Fi router in any way in terms of making it more harmonious in your place. And I highly suggest when you go to bed, just plug it out anyway. But even if you have it on, is to always use a EMF reader to make sure it's not emitting that. But I have seen so many videos of where You put the tensoring onto the Wi-Fi router, and immediately, boom, EMF down. And you're actually breathing that in. Something to note, look at it this way. If I go next to a 5G tower and it's emitting certain radiation and you're literally next to it, technically you're breathing in some of those radiations, right? In that sense. So, like I said, you can't convince me breathing glyphosate or any other thing is a lot better than breathing pure frequencies. And not only that, again, there's a crystal in here, in the second version, the 2.0, you'll actually be able to breathe in infrared, raw infrared from a specific plant. And this plant also produces scalar. Okay? So you're going to be able to breathe in the tensor rings and the copper ions and the negative ions. It's being charged by either the battery or even more frequencies. And even without the battery, even without plugging in other frequencies, you're technically still breathing in a specific frequency, because this is also wrapped in a specific way that harmonizes the electrons that you're breathing in. And something to note, when you put tensor rings under GDB imaging, you still see the electrons continuously roll. That's why when someone is freshly on their journey and they say, hey, which crystal do I get? I'm like, go get a tensor ring. It's alive. It's alive, because whenever you pull out crystals from the ground, you technically always have to charge them, in the sense of either soaking them in the sun or in the moon charging them, and you have to continuously do that. Where tensor rings, it's already charged. And copper technically is a crystal. Yeah, it's a crystal, okay? So the tensor ring has a continuous flow of electrons. It's not dead like most crystals out there. Someone goes, how long do you think will it roll out to next generation after you sell? Basically, anyone who purchased right now is really getting the second generation as we speak. And the next rollouts will be, when we ship them, they'll actually have a actual frequency device. If you're really not sure what you're breathing in terms of specific frequency or whatever, you'll actually get a small little frequency device, and you can dial the frequency of what you want to breathe in, and like plug it in. And that way, at that point, it'd be supercharged in the sense of the outlet. So there you go. Tensoring, Tensor, Tensoring. We got some East Coast people in here. 222. Thoughts on these robots? I was just talking about them earlier. And I have a feeling, well, I don't know how long I'll be playing in society, but I have a feeling that some of these robots, the AI technology, will definitely hover over my videos, because I barely see people talking about how breath is literally residing in every dimension of reality, and how different patterns of breath produce different results. And a lot of people in the breathwork space already have a narrow-minded sense of breath is one-dimensional, when in actuality, it resides in different dimensions of reality. And you can go on my website and go to the brain research. I actually did work with Pathwaves here in Miami. And we did different breathing patterns, and they got different results. And not just breathing patterns in the sense of changing of my breath. I even breathe normally, and I did quantum breathing. I did so many different aspects of breathing and going to different characteristics of breath, where I was just breathing normally, and you start to see different shifts on the brain. So, like I said before, it's not that I told you so. It's more so I'm just honored to be on the right path of breath in that sense. Oh yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, that's why. All right, someone brought up a great point here. So something to note: if the copper isn't structured, so it's not the tensor ring that's important. It's about the structure of the tensor ring, or the structure of the copper, and that's why I don't promote people drinking out of a copper bottle at all. If anything, I'd rather you put it on your skin, because your skin will absorb the right amount it needs. That's why when you wear copper rings, it'll get green, because that's showing you like, hey, we have enough, we don't need any. So with the tensor ring itself, it's not just the copper ions you're breathing in at that point. You're actually breathing in ormus, which actually is more abundant than the actual aspect of copper. And at that point, you're breathing in structured air. Just like people like to go to Kangen and look like, oh, I'm drinking structured water. Well, what about your air? What about the main thing that's pumping your lungs? What pattern do you suggest for a 6-year-old? In the Breath Family Members group, I'll be making a kids section. And I don't know. I don't know your 6-year-old. Like that's such an in-depth one-on-one, depending on if the kid has specific issues with some type of disorder, or even if he's healthy, what does he actually like to do? What's his habits? All these things come into play, because at the end of the day, when we're working on our health, you know, in the long run of things, when you see people go downhill from being, hey, I'm working out every day, I'm doing this and that, they don't find it fun, right? And that's the main point of alchemy breathwork, having fun with the breath throughout the day, where you can actually feel the shift and interact with your reality in different ways and see how the breath is really like, whoa, my breath is really letting me have this certain experience, and I can see the ties and bonds that we're co-creating. Keyword. What if you're allergic to metal? That's a great point. Allergic to metal. Yeah, your body has so many different types of metals. It's not that you're allergic to metals, any type of allergy. It's a fact that your body, just like with terrain theory, the terrain, you could say, is the terrain is not quote unquote healthy enough. And speaking of metals, yes, I have 3 people already that was within breath retreat, the breath ascension retreat. Does actually have history of allergies to metals and stuff, and they felt perfectly a boost, if anything, using the frequency breather. So it's perfectly fine. And with metals, man, if you're in the aspect, if you're talking about metal detoxing, that's a whole in-depth play right there. But this is honestly perfectly fine with anyone that's really allergic to metals, in my opinion, or at least what I've seen so far. Because something to note, your lungs is pumping 70% of your blood. So to breathe in structured air, as a life force enters, the lungs read the life force. It's more so information. It goes way beyond nutrition. It goes way beyond the aspect of nutrition. In reality, what our bodies truly crave and want is the bioresonance in basically the life force in the foods that we eat or the foods that we drink, even the people we surround ourselves with. Why am I sweating? I'm next to an infrared bulb. Why do you think I'm sweating? I see. Yeah, any more questions? Maybe we can tap into a mini breathwork session right now too. Yeah, anyone want to hop on live and share their questions? Spidey. Oh, here we go with the questions in the nose. Yeah, anyone want to hop on live and share any thoughts on everything I said, from the breath technology to AI, robots. Do you wear your device all day? If I can, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do. I even wear it to sleep. Wearing it to sleep is a total different experience. Jen, how did you feel wearing the frequency device for the first time when we did the breath work?
Buzzing.
Buzzing? How did I get introduced to breathwork? So I got introduced to breathwork from Bigu, from a Bigu master. And what a Bigu master is someone who basically live off chi, recycled energy, stuff like that. But the main point is not to become a quote unquote full breatharian. The main point is actually feel the energies in your body to the point where you actually don't need dense foods. And that's how I got introduced. So I took everything I learned from Bigu, shifted it dramatically, because there are some mouth breathing aspects to it. I shifted it from that and also implemented sacred geometry, some of Nikola Tesla's work. And we're back. Put it into what I call alchemy breathwork. And I'm still learning from the breath, because the breath is still teaching me. And even my Sifu took that line. He's like, "Oh, I like that one." Oh, this is a great question. Should we run from society and get a cute little hut in a more low-key country? Well, the main thing is why you're running. Why you're running. That's the main question. I think that question is going to be different, and the answer is going to be different for everybody in terms of why you're leaving society. In actuality, can you actually leave society? When I talk about leaving society, what I mean is I won't be part of social media at a certain point anymore. That's what I mean when I talk about leaving society in that sense. And already I barely go out. Like, this is Art Basel is like the only time I truly really want to explore, because so many creative minds and progressive minds, if any, and they're really all about community too, they're here, and they came all over the world just to be here. And that's what I like, having those conversations in real time with those people here and see what I can build. Just like I showed some of the artists with this, sure, some of them are still looking, they're looking at, oh, you can taste music, but my main point is like, hey, you can actually help heal yourself with this too. And they're like, oh, you know. Are you still a full breatharian? Yeah. It's about to be 5 years soon. No, Bigu. 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 And with respect to Bigu and all the ancient practices that was given to us in terms of breath, you could say some of them, you have to understand, some of them gave you also have to respect that some of them, you have to look at the time periods when they were made, right? So with respect to all those different types of breath mechanics and stuff like that, some of them were made when we didn't have industrial cars and pollution and things like that, okay? So alchemy breathwork, I'm just going to say, is respecting the modern times we live in. It's not being delusional, saying there's not a car passing by, there's not these type of people in their mindset here. It's respecting reality, realism here, in the current moment, in the current time. It's respecting that aspect of the now and breathing life into the now as much as possible in that sense. What is a breatharian? A breatharian, in my definition, what a breatharian is, someone who puts the breath first. That's my definition of breatharian. But we can go back to ancient times where they say that it comes from the ancient word inedia, where they eat little or no food at all. And you feel that. You know why I'm not afraid of AI is because if people are so much in their ego and so much into the illusions of money and power and things like that, right? Because a lot of people are, even in certain spiritual spaces. I'm going to just come out and say that. At least AI will actually acknowledge that, no, we got to really look at this kid and like, hey, breath is real. The breath is shifting our reality, because I'm going to say this one more time. The breath resides in all dimensions of reality. You can go to let's look at the movie. I think about the movie Avatar. Let's look at the movie Avatar, right? You can look at that movie and you can I want to bring this into a practical sense. Like, let's say you go to a different country, far from. All right, let's not even use. Let's use a complete different reality. You go to another dimensional reality, right? Bananas don't exist. This plant don't exist. Like, it's a completely different aspect of how plants even grow, right? But the elements will always be, because that is natural law. The sun will still be there, even if there's not a sun. Well, at least a moon. Well, not even a moon. At least the night will exist, and even if the night doesn't exist, a plane of light will exist. Light has form. Natural law. That's why natural law will always reign king. And it's going to get to the point where, well, we're already there in terms of AI trying to breathe like us, right? So with AI, it's going to get to the point where AI will have this awakening, the epiphany, where the breath that they're inhaling and exhaling with the air, they're going to make mathematical equations to say, like, hey, this can influence this outcome, this can influence that outcome. When the human technology, what we've been doing is using faith, trust in the all that is way beyond AI. And at that point, I think that's when AI will definitely comprehend and maybe have compassion at that point, and like actual compassion. And I think the breath is definitely a mechanical aspect. And I'm going to put this on YouTube because who knows, maybe the AI might read it and learn from it. Where, you can even look at the movie Matrix, how within the story they're saying the robots was literally trying to protect us from ourselves. Right? That's how we got into those pods, because literally the robots took over, and the robots saw how barbaric we were, or whatever the case may be, and and yeah, I have such a deep synopsis of the deep rabbit hole of where the breath and technology will go. But shoot, it was really freaky seeing what I was saying all this time. And some of you have been on my lives or watched some of my videos. I have talked about how it'll get to the point where, word for word, the AI, robots, will get to the point where it wants to breathe like us, right? And shoot, it's 2021. It's about to be 2022. We here. It's doing it. And I already know Google, the labs, the Kalika labs is looking at some of my videos. But even if they are watching, I'm gonna just plainly say, I am not interested in working with any artificial intelligent project that wants to at least separate the man from the body in that sense, or the human spirit from the body. I'm not with that. at all. But I am open, and I'll say this publicly, I am open to the fact that if we can utilize a bridge where we can utilize breath mechanics into, say, someone that's disabled, right? And this is what I was talking about, where augmented reality, from why virtual reality is going to be a dinosaur. Augmented realities, that's what they really want. Augmented reality, where you go into an actual place, and just like how the NFT concept work with location, where it's based off smart contracts, where you can't listen to a specific album unless you're actually in that location, right? So you can use the same dynamics, and this is how deep it goes, where if you're breathing a certain way, then you get access to this, or you get access to that, or stuff like that. That's how deep people don't realize how deep how we put ourselves in this whole entire ecosystem of holes. But I'm looking at the progressive side in the sense of, if we can, well, let me tap into how the breath will connect right there. So VR right now, and even right now through your phone, you are seeing the light spectrum being beamed at you, right? So augmented reality, shifting, where we can combine the light spectrum of reality, the real world, and the light spectrum of artificial light, put it together, and then we can say, hey, the phone of the shape looks this way. We see the light fractal being beamed off this way. All right, this is an iPhone. Or I go inside a grocery market. I like using this one all the time, because I actually had a friend. His name is Lance. Shout out Captain Planet. He was literally working on this project where you can go inside a store, and then when you go in, it'll give you all the organic foods will start to pop out instead of the artificial stuff, right? So stuff like that, right? Where, again, you have the artificial light blending in with the reality, the real light, and being blended into that. So let me ask you a question in this sense, and really think about this. If we ourselves are light beings, right, and our bodies react to light, the melanin in our bodies, when you go into artificial light, did you know your cortisol levels increase? All these different factors increase when you go into into artificial light. I'm talking about fluorescent light, not infrared light. Though is healing. We can see that infrared light is super healing to the human body, because it's really mimicking the sun. And so with the light spectrum here, here's where augmented reality gets a huge boost, where they can actually beam certain light fractals at you, and then it'll start communicating with the light fractal from your soul. And Germany and Japan, both of their scientists came together, and they can already weigh your soul, and they already know that it is it's a light fractal energy. So we're going to go from AR to this light fractal technology, where we can interact with your soul, pull it out into, or push it into the virtual world, and you can actually have really deep emotional experiences. Okay, really deep emotional experiences that will give you even a deeper experience, because hey, that's the real world in terms of feeling. Feeling is key in terms of your reality. That's the key. You can read all these manifestation books, but the top ones will always tell you that it'll all just go back to feeling. Like, simple as that. Feeling is the key. It's a key to this reality. And that is where we're heading. So, what animates the body? The breath. The breath animates this physical body, right? Because when you leave, when you're dead and you're no longer animated, you're gone. You're no longer what? You're no longer breathing. Just like I was saying with the other live, in terms of our emotional bodies, where you're breathing at a certain rate, and this will activate either sadness, or if you're breathing at a different rate, it'll activate more happiness, more joy, serotonin breaths, like we did in the other one. And we mimicked that, and some of you actually felt that. Thank you for diving in. If you want to get a taste of that, because I really got to go soon, tap into that previous live, okay? Exactly. AI is learning from us. So that's my main point going back into this, where certain breathing, and this is probably one of the reasons why I was really thinking about when I do leave social media and stuff like that, whether or not to really keep my videos up, things like that of that nature, because if the people from Google Labs, if Calico Labs is still watching my videos, it's safe to say at a certain point AI will start watching my videos, or AI will start Googling, or literally learning from every different types of breathing, blah, 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 be like beep, 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 like boop. And then it'll come across my stuff and then utilize like all that stuff. But hey, my intention, right? The intention behind what I'm sharing is for the advancement where most of us can live in harmony. That's my intention. And that's why I'm not afraid of AI. I'm not afraid. I don't think you should ever be afraid of anything. Why feed into fear? You all were born in the darkness in your mother's womb. Why feed into fear? You were born in the dark. Remember that. So darkness is part of you. Darkness reveals your light. Going back into the whole light technology, right? There's an anime called Sword Art Online, and it literally speaks into everything I spoke about. And the main character, when he got to the point where he's breaking limitations put onto him, mentally too, because he's wearing like a nerve gear thing, the creators of the game was puzzled because it showed them how powerful willpower is. And they had to give up. They were like, man, the human spirit is way beyond comprehension, because it is. And that's why I think maybe, most likely, it'll get to the point where AI will just blow itself up, because it'll realize it can't breathe or embody the depth that we can. And AI will always want to be like their creators, i.e. us. Okay? It's called Sword Art Online. Yeah, stay blessed is you too, brother. RC Poetry, much love to you. How can someone understand if I can't experience it, or can it? AI is learning through us, through all technology, and how we treat it. So when AI reaches singularity, it'll treat us like we've treated. Close? Yeah. Yes. I like that. Yes. I like that. Indeed. Indeed. There it is. Yeah, anybody want to hop on live? I have a little bit of battery left, and I'm a little bit late to where I'm supposed to go. Yeah, Jen wants to go. Anybody want to hop on live real quick? And just, this was a really great live. Thank you all for popping in, sharing the breath, sharing this insight, and I'm really happy that all of you are here and we had this dialogue. I love reading things that you guys send back and forth. Hop on. Hey, brother.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, and you?
Good, good.
Yeah, do you want to touch on the topic and everything I spoke about?
Yeah, I was gonna go back because I saw somebody had a question about the robots, and I think they were talking about the self-reproducing ones.
Okay, that's what they were talking about. Okay.
I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are.
Oh, the self reproducing ones. Well,
Yeah.
when I saw that at that point, yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh well, that's what sex is. It's literally breathing into your partner and then breathing out another life form, right?
Right.
We can, like I said, the breath resides in all dimensions. We can go into layers
Yes,
and
sir.
layers. Like if you're, let's say you've been on semen retention for a very, very long time. You know, that low key, not a lot of people talk about it, but that really affects your breathing because
Hmm.
certain emotions come up in terms of tendencies and stuff like that. But if you can dive into breathing practices and learn how to control those, not even control, but breathe through those emotions and transmute it to what you need to use it for, it can be very powerful. So by time you're ready to release intentionally with a person, that's a powerful little breathwork experience in itself, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll have more, you can say a super baby, but a more intentional, powerful baby at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, versus if you didn't practice the breath and you're barely on semen retention, you know, you can, yeah, the mother is only going to breathe out, you know, a life form that doesn't have that essence, that powerful essence to it.
Hmm. So I personally haven't done enough research into it, but do you know how it works with these self-reproducing robots? I mean, I know breath begets breath, but as far as the physicality and the
Yeah, so
with it
so
being
what they what
tangible.
they did what they did was they basically took a cell from a frog and they programmed, see, everything from technology is based off the human body.
Hmm.
Everything. So what they did was they
The program,
programmed,
the coding is the breadth of that technology.
exactly. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, they literally coded enzymes into the frog, and they basically had an artificial embryo, and they only meshed it together, and then they start self-producing.
Okay. Okay. So it's a organic robot, or not fully organic, but it does have
Yeah,
organic
it's
material.
organic and artificial, literally, and having a hybrid.
Like a
At this
hybrid,
point.
hybrid. Yeah. Okay. I went
Yeah,
off the
that's what it
assumption that
is.
it was completely technological. I didn't know they did a biological integration.
Nah. Someone else wanted to hop in.
Oh yeah. I appreciate the time and appreciate the breath, brother.
Likewise, brother. You can say in. I can put you both on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is my first time hopping on somebody's live, so I don't know how it all works.
No worries. Hey there, brother.
Oh, how you doing, brother? You doing good?
Yeah. Do you want to
Hey,
touch on the topic?
well, first I want to say much blessings to you. Definitely appreciate you. I've been goals following for a minute. Haven't really, been tapping in as much as possible, but I already seen what you're up to and your mission, your goals. So I love it. Um, but yeah, no, you were speaking 100% facts, and that's the case. And it's my first time coming to your live, and we're on the same path when it comes to um I guess you can say the understanding of the frequency and the tools it's going to take to move humanity forward um, when it comes to creating and then also bridging the gap between our physical and the real spiritual, not the artificial spiritual. So I definitely want to say bless ups for that. And just touching on the topic about AI, um, I mean, those actually go in the hand. Like we are in the sense of a form, not we're not artificial, but we are an intelligence and we are a coding of a frequency that is the most high. So in that sense, what we are creating, we're just basically creating a lesser down, more denser version of ourselves, right? Which is in a sense not good because it's more of a lower density frequency versus a higher density frequency, but it definitely is something that in the time space continuum has definitely been already pre understood that this was going to happen, because the past, present, and future all coexist in one singular moment, which is the present moment. So because of that, we have to understand that, yes, like we can put things in place to protect us. But you have to also understand that this is a creation that we made, right? Not us specifically, but the entities or the powers or the organizations that be. They made that because the reproduction is different for them versus us. You know, they can't reproduce on the frequency level that we can. So the only way that they can do that is through a logical mental level. And, you know, AI, what is it? Artificial intelligence. It's not anything but artificial intelligence and a frequency of deeper intelligence, a denser intelligence than us. So I guess long story short, it's like, okay, when you first were talking about, it's like, okay, if you really think about it, the coding of AI is a network, right? And what they're really trying to do now is a network, right, of just a very dense geometric pattern, like very dense, like zeros and ones, right? They can't get in between the 0 and the 1. That's what they're trying to do with quantum physics. And then that's when you start bringing all these spiritual energies down. And next thing you know, it's not, you might not or may not be good energies because you're mixing, you know, between the 0 and the 1 with the lower density, I guess you can say, vessel, which is not good. So for us, what we just have to do is create the spaces like this and create the tools, you know, like what you're wearing, what you're using, right? To be able to help us keep our frequency on such a level that when these things do start to move and come into full effect, what they already are, but even more now, right? Like even more controlling towards the people that don't understand, then we have a sense of understanding to where we can go from an explosion of exerting converstion wise to implosion and a explosion up into the higher frequency levels. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
brother.
that's just kind of how I'm thinking about it. It's kind of like what I'm, you know, what I was getting from what you were saying and my brother Dare was saying, and just building on top of it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to do work with you in the future. I'm still in the blueprint phase right now for my stuff, but implosion and explosion, implosion then explosion, and explosion and then implosion are the only two things that we really have, whether it be in energy or whether it be in I guess you can say frequencies. So
Just got
that's
one real quick comment because I noticed what he said about preparing for all the technological advances that'll be around us. I want to plug real quick. That's where Orin therapy comes in. That will definitely help protect you from all the EMF, and it'll have no power over you. And then as far as what you said about building the community, I actually wanted to ask you, Devin, I know you're in Miami. I'm in Jacksonville myself, and I haven't noticed much of a community. So I just want to know if you knew anybody around here that I can maybe reach out to try to build that here.
Jacksonville. Uh, how far is it from Gainesville?
About maybe 2.5 hours.
Oh darn! You might as well just come to Miami.
But I know a lot of people from Gainesville and all over Florida meet up at like Ginny Springs. That's over
Oh
there.
yeah,
It's somewhat close to Gainesville, so that could be a great meetup spot in the future for everybody in Florida.
yeah. Definitely hit me towards April for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
hey, well, I'm not too far. I'm in South Carolina, so
Oh,
let me know when
perfect.
y'all have this. I'll make that
Well,
drive.
I have an event December 19th. If you guys want to come, it's Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We do 1 hour of alchemy breathwork, and we're gonna have a bunch of the scalers all over the place. People are bringing their own scalers, so
All right.
Okay.
I will
yeah,
do my best to see if
it's
I
gonna
can
be
make it
wild.
out
And
there,
then I have a
brother.
multiple of sound healers in 360 as
Awesome.
well, and I have
Oh,
a violinist. It's
yeah,
a
I
great
just
Okay.
always
combo.
see your events
That's
and
gonna be dope.
everything, and part of me just pack up and move down to Miami, but then I see the lack of that community here, and I figure why run away from this to go towards where everybody else is when I have the opportunity to build it here and better the whole. Not that it's all on me, but to
Build
better
it, and
the
they will
community
come.
in Jacksonville to expand. Yes, correct. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
build it and they will come, because everyone I talk to here, you know, they always say that 10 years ago it wasn't as conscious as it is today in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the community. So we're on a big mission in terms of changing people's mindset of what they really think of Miami. You know, you know.
Yeah.
I
And here
also
in Jacksonville, I see a lot of different studios, like much more yoga and cryotherapy, red light therapy, all that's popping up. but it's like $80 a month subscription. Whereas I'm trying to build something where it's just a community of people get together, we learn from each other. People that are more skilled in yoga can lead a yoga session. People that are skilled in sound healing can lead some sound healing, and just everybody gather, you know, just for the betterment of all, so they don't have to go through the $80 a month if that's a financial barrier for some, you know.
Beautiful, brother.
100%.
I want to say thank you to official love Michelle. Thank you for the badge, love. And yeah, do any of you guys want to add anything else before leaving? I have a little bit of battery left, and Jen is pushing me to leave.
Hey, I just want to say peace and blessings. I actually don't like to say blessings as much because someone seen it and it said be less, and that makes a lot of sense. So we're gonna say peace, love, and light to everyone in the chat. Peace, love, and light to you all both, and you know, just breathe, relax, be present in the space. The present moment is the gift, so enjoy it. So yeah, much love to you all, and hopefully I'll be seeing you all soon and talking to you all soon.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
All right,
Y'all
guys.
take
Thank
care.
you all for sharing the breath. Peace.
Thank you. Peace and love.